some of us even predicted that this was going to be what Roush needed to get things back in order. And so when you look at the stats and you look at it's been since 2011 that the 6th car had been in victory lane, Taz Taylor, tell us the significance that it took for Brad Keselowski to keep those binders on, keep pushing, and now today he can call himself a victor of his own creation, right? Because we know where Roush Fenway was before there was Keselowski. What is your take, Taz?
I think Keselowski is basically the real definition of hard work pays off, because look at where he started in to start his Cup career. He came through with Junior Motorsports, and Dale Jr. picked him up, became a real serious competitor, a real star. Junior helped him get his first Cup ride with, I could be wrong, but I think they were called Our Chance Motorsports. I think they were the 09 car, if I remembered right.
It was the James Finch owned, the 09 Muskegee Resorts car. It was owned by James Finch.
And he took it to Talladega and won. I think he won that race, too. And nobody
yes, he did, and I believe his second career start.
And nobody knew who he was. They had an idea of who he was because of family background, but outside of that, nobody really knew who he was. And then he went to Penske, made a name for him with Penske, got a championship, several wins, many playoff appearances, many Championship 4 appearances, and then when push came to shove of him leaving Penske and rumors were flying around that he could be a Cup owner, everyone started questioning where he was going to go. Why was he going to do this? Is he going to be even successful? Because he was a team owner in the Truck Series that ended up, being dormant now. And with the help of, with him going to Roush Fenway, being co-owner with now RSK Racing, obviously Roush Fenway, we know, was a big powerhouse 4-car team that eventually fell down to 3 cars and then at 2 cars, and Roush kind of fell off. I wouldn't say entirely fell off the face of the earth, but pretty close to it. They were not competitive week in, week out like we were seeing. If you want to talk about how powerful Roush was, look at the early to mid 2000s. I would say you had Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle. You had, I know I'm missing somebody, Carl Edwards. You had, I think Jeff Burton was part of the team at one point. You had you had the who's who outside of Hendrick for racing for Roush. And then when Edwards left, when Mark Martin left and then eventually retired, Matt Kenseth moved on, it started to fall apart. You had Ryan Newman, which not taking anything away from Ryan Newman. He's a good racer, and I think he still got it. He was, I think, with the timing of where he was going and just how I don't know, I think Ryan Newman, just couldn't catch up, or the injuries just kind of caught to him a little bit. I know that then you had Ricky Stenhouse Jr., you had David Reagan, and it seemed like the driver/team combination wasn't fully fitting. Then Roush brings in Chris Buescher after the team had him as an Xfinity Series driver and let him go over to JTG for a little while. And then he comes back with Roush, and it seemed like Buescher was kind of starting to become this talented driver that everyone was giving him for, but it seemed like the equipment wasn't there, or he didn't have the right mentor behind him to give him the push. So insert Brad Keselowski. Obviously, the first year that Keselowski went to Roush and became part owner, it was a very, very, very rocky start. Like, it was like the team, you thought the team was going to be worse. You could not have thought the team could get any worse as it was before Keselowski. And when Keselowski came in, it got pretty bad. And then,
yeah, it wasn't just overnight success.
And then insert the second year of Keselowski being there. All of a sudden, like early on, they showed some struggles, but they kept going, and then eventually they were starting to compete for top 10s. Then it was top 5s. All of a sudden, Chris Buescher started winning races. And now, look where we are. They got off to a slow start for the season, but again, they kept pushing for top 10s. Then it was top 5s. Now they're competing for wins. Chris Buescher nearly won last week. He nearly won this week had he had not gotten into the issue with Tyler Reddick. And Keselowski has been competitive, has had, 2 or 3 second-place finishes so far this year. And finally, after 110 winless races, Brad Keselowski calls himself a winner.
Yes.
So, yeah, Brad Keselowski is not afraid of working. Brad Keselowski is literally the definition of hard work pays off. Like, he knows that sometimes when you start, it's not going to be this wonderful Cinderella story. He knows that you're going to be hitting the lowest of lows more than likely before you hit the highest of highs.
There was a lot of lonely nights in that shop probably in 2022 and 2023. A lot of self-doubt of whether or not Keselowski had what it took to get back in victory lane. But we knew it was coming. We knew. I think once Chris Buescher finally got that win last year, we were like, okay, now it's just a matter of time. Now, we thought that it would probably come a little bit quicker than that. But as we just said, a lot of good things in life you have to work really hard for. And that victory being at Darlington, look, I believe one of the last things we said last week was, that this was a driver's racetrack, right? And so it puts the advantage to seasoned drivers at this track. And when we've seen that with the mistake that Tyler Reddick made, of course.